Well, welcome to another Out of the Woods adventure. So we have the three of us this trip. We got Kiera in the front seat. We got Asher in the back. Can you say hi, buddy? They can't see you, dude. There he is. So we have a pretty fun little quick weekend trip we're doing. We are heading up to Winthrop, Washington, which if you're not familiar with that, it's a really cool old Western town right off Highway 20 on the North Cascades. And it's one of my favorite places in Washington, and I always love going there. But this weekend in particular, what's really cool is that there's a hot air balloon festival. So we're meeting up with our friends Mike and Kelly and their kids, and another buddy of mine, Jared, who hasn't been on my YouTube yet, but a good buddy of mine has a really sweet Gladiator. So we're all gonna meet up. We're gonna go camp over near Wenatchee tonight, and then tomorrow head on up to Winthrop to see some hot air balloons. I'm glad you guys could join us. I'm also so thankful for the fact that it's in the 60s in late February. It's just crazy. That, along with the blue sky, makes for such great travel weather. We have about a 2-hour drive to get over to Wenatchee to find camp.
I'm a little nerd.
You're so crazy, dude. Is that your nerd blanket?
Yep, I'm a little cozy nerd.
This is one of my favorite parts of driving up Highway 2 is this view of Index and Mount Bering. Especially with this kind of weather with the snow-capped peaks, it's absolutely beautiful. After only about an hour of driving, we made it up to the pass, then dropped down, coming into Leavenworth, which is another really cool Bavarian town, definitely worth a visit if you've never been. One of the crazy things about Washington is just how diverse the geography is. We went from the typical very green of Western Washington, and now as we enter into Eastern Washington, it's just so much more dry and arid. Just a whole different kind of beauty depending on which part of the state you're in. So the area that we're trying to camp at tonight, I've never been to before. And there's fun trial and error whenever you haven't been to an area and not knowing what the roads look like to get there. To get to the spot that I found, there were multiple different ways to get there, or at least different roads, not necessarily open roads, but roads. Of course, the first one we went to, it had a block of private land, which I knew the road went through private land. I saw that on Onyx, but oftentimes roads will still be open even on private land, or they'll have a gate that's openable and closable for cattle or whatever. Unfortunately, that one was just locked. So I'm going around to another access. I think this one will have better luck because the road to get up to, or this access, also leads to a hike or to a trailhead. So it should be open at least to that far. And at that point, you're already up in the mountains. So hopefully there on the forest road already, it'll be open. So hopefully this one will work. Is closed.
Boom, boom. Bum, bum.
I could just smash it, it's fine.
Just ram it. That'll be great for the YouTube as well. So route number 2 is also a bust. Kind of a bummer. There's still like 2 more routes to get up there, but I'm kind of guessing after this last one, which was closed seasonally because of snow and whatever, I'm kind of guessing they're probably all that way. So we're just giving up on that spot because we're running out of daylight, and I hate setting up camp in the dark if I can avoid it. So I have a backup spot on the north side of Wenatchee that I'm almost positive is open all year round. I've been there once in the winter before, so unless things have changed, we should be able to get there. So not as epic of a viewpoint and all that as I was hoping to have tonight, but still a really good spot. So we'll be there in like 20 minutes. My memory definitely failed me on the views on this drive, as you're about to see. They were not that bad at all. Actually, were quite amazing. Well, hi, Kira. It's a great reflection of you.
Thank you, thank you.
And we're not quite level. We're close. There's someone skibbity outside our glass right now.
Look at this purple Red Bull.
That Red Bull is very skibbity.
It's purple.
I think we found camp. Ended up being a different spot than I originally thought. Look at that view. It's incredible. What do you think, buddy?
Yay.
Yay. Who needs a shower, Jack? Who needs a shower? There's snow. Just rub yourself down with snow. Now that we found camp, it's time to get everything set up. So enjoy the whole setup montage with the two crazies who keep photobombing us. If you're new to the channel, then this tent might be a new tent for you, but this is one of my favorite tents I've ever had. It's from Dometic, it blows up only with air, there's no metal, and it's my favorite. Also, those dance moves, I'll claim those are mine. Also, did I mention yet just how wrong I was about how bad the views were gonna be up here? I can't get over it, these views are insane. Such a cool campsite that I did not expect for a backup of a backup of a backup campsite.
It looks like a meatball burger. Hey, this burger is smoking.
Smoking!
No, it's smoking.
Jared's here. Usually when I'm looking for campsites, I'm trying to find the most remote, in the mountains, secluded campsites possible. This one's the opposite. Even though we are pretty secluded, we're definitely not far from civilization, as you can see all of downtown Wenatchee below us, but it actually made for a pretty cool view that was kind of unique. After taking in all those city views, I decided to chase the kids around with the spotlight on the drone. Unfortunately, this did have some negative effects, as you'll find out here pretty soon. How'd you sleep, buddy?
That's actually the best I've slept in camping history.
Yeah? Well, that's good. It's really pretty out here, huh?
Very cold.
It is cold, but super pretty. It had dropped down into the upper 20s, which is cold, but as long as you have the right sleeping bags and the right clothes, it's totally manageable, and with these views, I'll take it. So, last night I made a big oops. I was flying my drone, scaring the kids as they were running around. Not really scaring, I was just playing with them as they were running around in the dark. And thought my drone was way higher in the air than it ended up being. So as I started to fly it back towards where we were sitting at the campfire, it went right into the hillside. And I was hoping I was gonna get lucky because it hit a bush. So I was hoping the bush would have caught it softly. Not the case. The gimbal completely broke and the drone is done. So then I was super bummed because this is night one of this weekend trip and I don't have a drone now. Fortunately, Jared does have a drone, and yeah, so now we have his for the trip, which is, I'm so thankful for that. Sir.
Thank you, sir.
You guys want some coffee?
Sure.
Whether you're camping in the mountains, hiking, or just driving through, I think one of the questions most people ask is, hey, what mountain is that? And often there's not an easy answer for that. But that's where this app called Peak Finder really comes in handy. It's an app I found years ago, and I use it all the time, whether I'm hiking or driving or whatever, and it's fantastic, and it shows you all the mountains. I can't recommend this app enough. Sun feels so good. And it's surprisingly warming up pretty quick. And that view, just amazing. Back there, the enchantments. Absolutely love that area. Had no idea we were gonna see it from camp. But speaking of camp, we're gonna get all, and partially packed up, but we're gonna finish packing up camp now and then head north to Winthrop to find camp up there and see the hot air balloons. I still can't get over just how blessed we are by this amazing weather. It's absolutely beautiful. The sun feels fantastic. If there is a downside, the only downside would have been just how muddy it is. I didn't show it in the videos, but our camp was quite soggy and muddy, but we got over it quick because it's just beautiful out. We chose not to make breakfast to get out of camp faster, so our first stop was to get some McDonald's, and then across the street was a Dutch Brothers to get some coffee. Then we all met up at Safeway. We had to top off our propane tank for our fire pit, and then we were back on the road. We have about a 2-hour drive to get up to Winthrop. It's such a beautiful drive heading up north on 97 from Wenatchee to Winthrop. You follow the Columbia River almost the entire way, which just adds to the beauty. When we left Wenatchee, it was already warming up pretty nicely getting into the mid-40s, but as we came north, it definitely got colder, and you could tell by all the snow that was just sitting around everywhere. And finally, we had hit our turnoff, and now we were heading up the forest road to hopefully find our camp. So we made it up, just like a couple miles up this road, and it's all been nice compact snow. Well, that's ending. We just hit this little berm here, but I can see tracks that don't look too far old going that way. It's all really compact. So we are airing down to like 3 PSI, and we're gonna see how far we go. We only have about 2 miles to get up to where I wanted to camp. That should have an amazing view looking out over the valley, perfectly situated for the hot air balloons that are popping up in the morning. So it's absolutely worth it. Plus, this is just the fun part. So we have to go for it, at least try. If this doesn't work, then there's some other spots back that way I think could be a decent backup. But it's 12 o'clock, so we're gonna go for it. Fortunately, because all 3 of us have beadlock wheels, we can all air down to about 3 PSI is what we've chosen for this, which will help tremendously with traction in really deep snow. If we didn't have beadlocks, I don't know if we'd go for it, just because if you can only air down to 8 or 10 PSI, this would be pretty tough. And while we were doing this, I had no idea my camera was rolling in my Jeep, capturing this gold.
Stop! This is my side.
Whack-a-mole, you can't do that. It's whack-a-mole. Ready? Go back, go back. You can't do that. It's whack-a-mole.
It might not look like it on the video, but this berm was actually pretty steep, which made it really tough with my 2.5-inch clearance and my low-hanging slide bars. I was having a little bit of issue. I went back and forth a handful of times, hoping that maybe I could clear enough snow to get through, but that just wasn't happening. So eventually I decided that I needed to back up and turn on my lockers to see what that would do. Unfortunately, that still wasn't quite enough, so I decided to back all the way out. This time I wanted to give it just a little bit of a bump to see if I could kind of use my momentum to help carry me through, and that finally worked. And though from walking the other side of this bump, I thought it was pretty compact, that ended up not being the case. It was pretty soft and mushy snow, which you'll see more about later. I was really interested to see how Mike's Jeep would do with this. He doesn't have lockers, but he does have 40s, which give him a ton of clearance. And there it is! That's all he needed. Nice! Easy! Next up is Jared, and I think with his 37s, he might have a similar issue to me and belly out. Which is exactly what happened. You did exactly what I did and bellied out. Yep. Maybe, so get your front back up onto the very top and then straighten out. Now from that point, gun it, like bump it. You might want to engage your fronts. So go back up to the top. All right, straighten out. And now bump it. There you go. Now it's time to see just how far we can make it. This flat portion of the road wasn't too bad, but the thing I kept finding is that my Jeep kept shifting from side to side, and then we get sucked down into the, not really the ditch, but just off the road, and that would slow me down and kill all of the momentum. As we hit the first incline though, I definitely found some issues pretty quick. All of this snow had been sitting in the sun for hours so far today, and it just made it this really deep, slushy mess that I was really struggling to find traction in. So really what it comes down to is a whole bunch of back and forth, pushing and plowing your way through a few feet at a time. And the hope is eventually you'll catch some good ground like I did here, where you actually gain some momentum and you can go for a little while. At this point, I was starting to feel pretty good about this and thought that I had finally gotten onto a better track and we were actually going to go and potentially make it. But then the incline got a little bit steeper and all the momentum was lost, and this last little section, I just wasn't able to get any kind of traction in. It just kept stopping me and just turning the tires. Well, unfortunately, this one's not going to happen. The snow is too soft in this afternoon sun, and all we're doing is trying to push through 2 foot of mush, and it's just, there's still a lot more inclines to go, so it's only going to be a lot more the same. This would take all day, and even then to push through. I don't know if we could still do it all day, but so we're going to push back and try to find something else, because that's just going to take way too long. Besides finding camp, we still wanted to get to town, have lunch, and enjoy the hot air balloon festival, so we just didn't have time to devote hours to getting out to this camp spot. Also, backing down this stretch was really not fun, so as soon as I could, I found a safe spot that I could get the Jeep turned around, and just, yeah, going back forward is so much easier. You can see here just how tough these conditions were and just how much the tracks in the snow is throwing my Jeep all over the place, which is why I decided to turn around back there. And I think Mike finally had enough of doing all that too, so he decided to turn around, although it was a little bit harder for him because he is so long in the Gladiator.
Keep going.
This is also a huge benefit of wheeling with friends and having radios, is that I'm able to assist him here without getting out of the warm Jeep.
Made it!
Breakfast. I have some muffins. I eat them very quick. I'm allowed to sing if you're allowed to sing. I eat my muffins. I had a...
Well, it's a bummer. Couldn't make it. So we're gonna air up, find somewhere else, and then go into town. You win some, you lose some. But ultimately, this trip isn't about finding the most epic campsites. It's about enjoying family, friends, and the Hot Air Balloon Festival, especially here in Winthrop. So that's our goal. We'll go get a different campsite. It might not be as epic, but it'll totally work for what we need it to be. But we're all excited now to get down to town, to get some food in our bellies, and see the Hot Air Balloon Festival. Well, hello there, dears. Just poo hanging out of their butt. And yes, I did say deers. I will never understand why we can say beers, but we can't say deers. The English language. We've just gotten to Winthrop and we're heading to one of my favorite places to eat at the Old Schoolhouse Brewery. That's very weird, sir. Give me your most skibbity face.
That'll be a 4-hour wait.
Normally around lunchtime here in Winthrop, this place is packed and you might have to wait for an hour or two to get a table. We got super lucky and were seated right away. This place is also great in the summer because this whole deck in the back is full of tables. It's a great spot to look over the river, and it's usually quite a bit cooler here too because it can get pretty hot here in Winthrop in the summer. Not only does this restaurant have a really cool vibe and the cool view looking over the river, but their food is fantastic. Their fries, their burgers, their beer, or their homemade root beer like I had. They're all so good. After we finished up lunch, we decided to take a little walk around town. There are all kinds of really cool shops. Really something for everybody here. And after not too long, we started seeing vehicle after vehicle come in with all the different baskets prepping for the evening's events. I don't know about you, but I have never seen an air balloon set up before. Although it makes perfect sense, I didn't realize when they first start airing out the balloons like this, they actually just use a big industrial fan, and that gives it its first big expansion before they actually start throwing heat into it.
What's that?
It's eating you, buddy.
It's eating us. What? Leave. Leave.
I've only been to this event once before, about 10 years ago with my daughter. And that year, they only blew up just this one balloon. But what's really cool about this year, and maybe previous years since I've been here last, is that they actually blew up multiple balloons down on Main Street. It was such a cool experience.
So this one's special. Because it's from 1960.
There's a whole lot more to this event than just the balloons popping up. They actually have a wine and beer tasting that you can pick up whatever you want and then walk around town, enjoy it while you're watching the balloons. But we decided to get out of there and get back to camp and enjoy the blue hour at camp, roasting marshmallows and having some dinner. So this is a camp spot. This will work because we have a really nice view of the whole valley behind us. And all the balloons should pop up kind of right in that vicinity in the morning. They should just be all over right there. I'm so excited. It's gonna be, I mean, it's so pretty out here. These conditions are amazing. So I am so excited for tomorrow. And now we're gonna get all camp set up, get the bonfire going because it's already like 37 degrees. So it's getting cold quick. And I think it's supposed to drop down to like, I think by 25 tonight. So it's gonna be a chilly night. What are you roasting, Kira?
They're clusters.
So weird.
Look at, this is my new creation. Look at ready?
Ooh, gooey nerd clusters. She's got all the kids doing it.
It's good.
And then tomorrow we'll have freeze-dried nerd clusters in Leavenworth. Because I saw them.
Hi, Crazy. Meow. Good morning. So woke up early for a spectacular sunrise. I was kind of hoping. Ooh, who's that over there? That's my sweet little Jared. Woke up for a spectacular sunrise, which I was hoping would be the case with these clouds coming in that I knew about. Yeah, that was beautiful. All the pinks. I should have woken up like 10 minutes early to get even more of it. But now we are waiting for the balloons, which should be popping up here in the next 10 minutes or so, back over there. And until that happens, I'm gonna make some coffee because it's really cold outside. As for making coffee, I think this is gonna be the last time I use this setup with this strainer I have. It's always worked really well, but I found on the last couple of trips, the first cup of coffee, it strains pretty well, and then after that, it gets all clogged up and then just doesn't work. So I'll be looking for something new in the future. I think Mike's got some bacon going. Looks delicious. When does bacon not look delicious? So we got one balloon that popped up. But so far, that's it, just the one balloon. Last time I was here, there were like a dozen at least. Unless they're all floating real low behind that ridge, which would definitely be a bummer. But we'll see. That's the only downside of where I'm camping, is that we're way further north than I wanted to be, and we're not as high as I wanted to be, but there's just too much snow to get up much higher with the time that we had in the day yesterday. But hopefully we'll see some more, because that one just got up pretty high. So hopefully we'll see some more here soon. We have a fun tradition that we like to do for breakfast that we call breakfast s'mores. I forgot one of the main ingredients, but basically what it is you have your 2 cookies with chocolate, put peanut butter, your marshmallow, bacon, and raspberries, and make a sandwich out of it. And it sounds weird, but they are so, so good.
Okay.
What do you think of the breakfast s'more, Jack?
Amazing.
Even better when there's raspberries, so we'll have to do that next time. Also, pro tip, if you want to warm up quickly, stand and dance over a fire. It works quite well. Just be careful not to burn yourself. 2 more. Finally have 2 balloons in the sky at the same time instead of just one. But man, they're a long ways away. We are finally starting to get a few more balloons popping up, so maybe they're just having a little bit of a late start, but you won't see it here. But there's like 3 popped up back over there, but where you will see it in 3 seconds is on his drone. 3, 2, 1. So I was going to wait until all the balloons were done, but since that's kind of a little bit different process than I thought it was going to be, I'm going to make some breakfast. I'm going to make one of my favorites. I call them scram cakes, and all I do is mash up a bunch of ripe bananas with a bunch of eggs and some cinnamon, cook it like you would scrambled eggs, and then drizzle a little bit of some good old maple syrup over the top of it, and it is fantastic. I bet you didn't expect to see a little cooking show on this episode of Out of the Woods, but this has become one of our favorite breakfasts to make out camping for a few reasons. One, it's just super easy and quick to make. It's delicious. It tastes like banana pancakes, but is kind of a better, healthier alternative, being that it doesn't have any flour or sugar or stuff like that. It just has the banana, egg, salt, cinnamon, and that drizzle maple syrup over the top, which you're about to see. So once I get all the bananas all mashed up, I start adding the eggs. And my ratio for eggs to bananas is basically for every single ripe banana, I add 2 eggs. Once that's all in, give it all a really good stir. Then it's time to add the salt and cinnamon, and do not go light on the cinnamon. Add it quite liberally. The more you add, the better it tastes. Also, please don't judge me on the dirtiness of my stove. I didn't realize until this trip just how dirty it got from our last trip to California, so I'll be cleaning that after this trip. But after the butter's all melted, you pour in the pancake mix or the banana pancake mix and let it sit for a little bit and don't touch it, kind of letting that bottom kind of thicken up. And then once that does, then you can start kind of pushing it around like you would scrambled eggs and just keep doing that until it gets to the dryness or whatever that you like. One up?
Yeah.
The best thing about scram cakes, your kids think they're eating pancakes, essentially, when in reality, you're giving them a pretty healthy meal with all the eggs, which gives them great, long-lasting energy to go and tackle a hill like this to go sledding down, which looked so much fun.
That is a good run. So did I. That was a surprisingly good run.
As the kids had fun going down the hill multiple times, we finished eating our breakfast, and then it was time to start cleaning up and packing up camp. What I didn't realize whenever I set up the video, or the phone to record this video, is that Jared and I started tearing down our tents at pretty much the exact same time. So this is a pretty cool comparison to see how my hybrid system works compared to his more typical hard case tent. As much as I love this Dometic tent and I love how quickly it folds down, the one thing I don't like about it is the way they have the bag strapped down to the tent. It's a kind of an annoying design, not a huge deal, but just one of those things. We had such a good time this morning at camp. Besides eating breakfast, we ended up just hanging out for a couple of hours enjoying the warm sun and the incredible views. Next on our agenda was to head downtown. We have one more stop in town at a local bakery to get a little snack for the road and probably some coffee. This is our final day on the trip, but the trip is definitely not over yet. I have a pretty fun surprise for the kids in store for us as we get back down towards Leavenworth here pretty soon that you're not going to want to miss. It's pretty cool. The town of Winthrop really is a cool place and has a really rich history. Trappers first started coming into the area in the early 1800s, but really the town was developed more so in the 1880s when gold was found in the area and a lot more people were coming up for that. It didn't really become a tourist destination though until Highway 20 was built, which brings you right down into town, and then from that point on, it's flourished. Although there are a few bakeries in town, the Rocking Horse Bakery is definitely my favorite, and it's easy to see with delicious things like this just filling their windows. They have so much good stuff, great coffee, and you'll also know it's the popular one because it's always busy, there's always a line, but it's definitely worth the wait. I am a huge fan of carrot cake, so when I saw this carrot cake cupcake, I knew immediately what I was getting. This thing is delicious. We spent a little bit of time there at the Rocking Horse Bakery enjoying our food and our coffee, and then it was back on the road. We have about 2 hours to get back down to Leavenworth. As we make the drive down towards Leavenworth, I thought I'd share a little bit of interesting information about that town as well. Believe it or not, it was not always a Bavarian town like it is now. Settlers hungry for gold, timber, and fur soon settled the area in the 1890s, and Icicle Flats was born. The The area exploded with the arrival of the rail line near the turn of the century, and at that point Leavenworth was a whole lot less Bavarian and a whole lot more deadwood. The logging business there was great until the railroad rerouted its rails and moved out of town, which almost turned Leavenworth into a ghost town. Leavenworth scuffled along for more than 30 years, always on the brink of extinction. That was until the early 1960s when town leaders had a bright idea: change Leavenworth's appearance to draw visitors. The area around with all the beautiful mountains really had that Alps feel, so they decided to capitalize on that. So the leaders decided to do a full renovation on the downtown, as well as creating a series of festivals, drawing revelers into the town, and from there, it's history. And this place has just exploded in popularity since, and it's all worth the hype. This place really is a really fun experience for the whole family. And now, how about some random thoughts from Kira?
It's giving when I wake up and I try going on my phone and I realize I'm not holding my phone.
Does that happen all the time?
A little too often.
She's not talking about Leavenworth there. I actually do not remember what we were talking about that led to her telling me that. I just thought it was funny and I had to include it in the YouTube. But now we are finally approaching the coaster. I've been looking forward to this for the last couple of days, and I can't wait to get on it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So we just made it into Leavenworth, and we are at the Leavenworth Park Adventure for the coaster. So excited. Are you excited, buddy?
Scared.
It's gonna be fun, dude. Are you excited, Jared?
You?
That's the reaction I wanted. Mike? Yeah! I look for coasters like this anytime we do any trip. I just think they're a lot of fun. This one in particular is $21 per person or per adult, and I think it was $18 for kids. And then if you do a 2-pack, you get a little bit of a discount. Are you excited, buddy?
No.
Hey, remember how much fun it was in Utah and Oregon? It's gonna be really good, dude. We're gonna have a really fun time. Look, they're going over top of us, buddy, watch. See, there they are. It's gonna be fun, dude. It's okay. Dude, just enjoy it, go woo! Later, dude! Woo! Yeah, buddy! How was it, Munchkin?
Good.
You gotta keep going. Push down. Rookie. Jack's flying. Yeah, I'm surprised there's not like an auto catch right there, because everyone wants to let go at that point.
I wish it went more fast.
What'd you think, you guys?
Awesome. Super fun.
It's so fun. Alright, was that as scary as you thought it was gonna be?
Yes.
He still enjoyed it. That was a blast. I love coasters. This one's fun because it brings you along those cliff edges multiple times, which just gives you an extra sense of you're gonna fall off, but you won't. It's totally safe. And you can only go 25 miles an hour at most anyways. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Those are always a blast. But that is the end of this weekend road trip. We're gonna grab some food and then head home. But I hope that this trip inspired a trip of your own. If you want to learn more about the Hot Air Balloon Festival, look into that. It's every year around the end of February, beginning of March. It's pretty cool. I wish we had camped further south, had that other spot worked, because that would have been a lot better to view the balloons at this morning. But still really cool to see them last night on the street. So yeah, thanks for joining. And if you don't already, please like and subscribe and be on the lookout for future adventures.